Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2, and hope you like this video, and subscribe as we get closer to the end of this baseball season. But as we have about 5 weeks left in the season, the races are getting tight. The race in the American League West has gotten tight. One game separates three teams. The first place Rangers, who's the subject of this video, the Houston Astros, and the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners, who were treading water and were terrible for most of the season, they decided to trade their closer, Paul Sewald, which I think is a good idea. Trade a nervous Nelly, a guy that has very thin skin. Get him the hell out of here. You want to win that division, get him the hell as far away from your division as possible. And they traded him to the Arizona Diamondbacks. I would mention about Paul Sewald. I've seen probably most of his games that he's pitched for the Mets. So I know what kind of his character is on the mound. He don't like too much pressure. So it's good that they got him out of there, out of Seattle. Let him be someone else's problem. Now, if you're Paul Sewald and one of his fans, I'm sorry. I saw him a lot of years with the New York Mets. But anyway. The Rangers. I was watching the Rangers game on MLB Network. They were playing the Twins. I was like, they're winning the games 5-2. Aha! They blew the game. And they've lost 7 in a row. I'm going to read you a couple of game recaps from a couple of some Texas sites. This is from LoneStarBall.com. Headline, 72-55. The Rangers fall apart again with 7-5 loss to Minnesota. Now, the Rangers have lost 7 in a row. The Texas Rangers scored 5 runs while the Minnesota Twins scored 7 runs. Rangers didn't win. What a great recap. Player of the game. The Rangers got 3 hits from Travis Jankowski and 3 home runs and still lost. The Rangers and Twins are back at it tomorrow night with the right-handed pitcher Dane Dunning. You know, the interesting thing about this, just to give you this little recap, and just going through the numbers with the Rangers real quickly. They've lost 7 in a row. Prior to them losing 7 in a row, they had a 2.5 game lead. So they only really lost a game and a half in the standings. But the Mariners are on their tail. Now here's from Fox4News.com. This is from a Dallas website. Jeffers' tie-breaking homer in the 8th lifts Twins to 7-5 win and deals Rangers 7 straight loss. Minneapolis AP, this is from Associated Press. Pinch hitter Ryan Jeffers broke a tie with a 2-run, 2-out homer and a 3-run 8th inning, and the Minnesota Twins beat the Texas Rangers on Thursday night and sent the Rangers to a season-high 7 straight loss. In a matchup of division leaders, Minnesota tied a season-high with 5 homers and overcame a 5-2 fifth-inning deficit. Michael A. Taylor homered twice for Minnesota. Now, I saw those 2 homers. And Royce Lewis and Kyle Farmer also went deep. Quote, we just kept adding runs to the scoreboard slowly, steadily. Twins shortstop Carlos Correa said. On a night of 8 home runs, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, and Leody Taveras, I saw all their home runs, hit solo drives for the Rangers. Texas, which has led the AL West since April 9th, is just 1 game ahead of Houston and Seattle. Like I said, I was watching this game up until the 6th inning. So the Rangers, it seemed like they were in complete control. And I'll give you kind of a rundown of what's been going on. I kind of went through their statistics. Quote, kind of had a good feeling early on in that game that we were going to break the skid and go out and put up about 10 runs and kind of cruise into it, and it didn't happen, said Travis Jankowski. We had 3 hits and drove in 2 runs for the Rangers. Quote, so on to tomorrow. AL Central leading Minnesota opened a 6-game lead over second-place Cleveland. Minnesota trailed 5-4 and Matt Wallner singled off Josh Sorbitz starting the 8th. Carlos Correa, who had stranded runners on base in each of his first 3 at-bats, hit a tying double to the base of the center field wall. I would mention about Carlos Correa, he's not afraid of the big moment. And he's very good against really good pitching. Lewis walked, and left-hander Will Smith got Max Kepler to ground into a double play. Jeffers hit for Edward Julian and drove Smith's first pitch, an inside slider 427 feet to the second deck and left center. It was Jeffers' second home run in 14 career pinch at-bats. Minnesota also homered 5 times against the Chicago White Sox on May 13th. Josh Winder, the winner, pitched 3 hitless innings in relief of Pablo Lopez. Griffin Jacks worked around a 1-out walk in the 9th, getting Nathaniel Lowe to ground into a game-ending double play for his 2nd save this season. Here's a quote from Rangers manager Bruce Bochy. Quote, I saw an offense that did a really nice job against a guy that was on a good roll, Rangers manager Bruce Bochy said. A good pitcher, we had some great at-bats, put 5 runs on the board, and a long guy came in and shut us down. On a night like tonight, the way the ball was flying, you're hoping you can tack on. But he did a great job for them, and they kept chipping away. Well, this is bad news for the Rangers, because the Rangers had this humongous lead in the American League West. They were running away with it, and they looked like they were going to win 110 games the way they were playing. Just going through their numbers and just based on the things I was reading, their starting pitching has actually been very good. Jordan Montgomery, who they picked up from the Cardinals, has pitched great. Max Scherzer has pitched great for them. Max Scherzer's given up 1 home run in his 6 starts. He gave up 23 with the Mets in the first 3.5 months he was with them. But he's pitched really well. His walk total is a little high for Scherzer. But their starting pitching has been really quite good. I would mention that John Gray during this streak has lost 2 games because he has kind of contributed to it. But it's just looking at it based just off of the sort of superficial numbers, their offense has obviously been inconsistent. They're not hitting at the level that they had been hitting. While I was watching the game, they were mentioning during the broadcast that they have not hit like they had. As well as the fact that their bullpen has been lousy. They've questioned some of the moves that Bruce Bochy has made. Bruce Bochy's a Hall of Fame manager, but the one thing about these bullpens, boy, they will run you into the ground. So if your bullpen doesn't come through late in the game like it did on Thursday, it's going to kill you. I mean, that's the one thing. That's that last line of defense. Getting those last 3 to 9 outs is the most difficult thing in baseball to do sometimes. And it seems like the Rangers have had that obvious problem. Now, I would mention this, that the Rangers have been bad for a very long time. And some of those players are still on that team. Not blaming anybody, just anyone specifically. But it takes a while. And literally the last thing with a great team or a good team to really put together is a good bullpen. And obviously that bullpen right now is failing them in a big way. And when the bullpen fails, your offense gets a little tight. And if the starting pitching is doing well, that offense can be very tight when you know you're not going to get much help out of that bullpen. But we got about 5 weeks left. This is going to be a fun race to watch. The Mariners have come out of nowhere to make this into some interesting race. Now, they did win 90 games. I would say that of the 3 teams that have the biggest advantage in this race going down the last 5 weeks are the Mariners, quite frankly, because the Mariners have the best starting pitching. Their pitching has been off the charts. It's probably been the best pitching in the American League over the last month and a half, if not the whole season. If you go through their numbers, their walk totals are insanely low. They can give up the home run and it doesn't really kill them because they don't walk anybody. And Julio Rodriguez, obviously with Ty France, they're carrying that offense in a big way, especially Julio Rodriguez. He was 18 for 27 last week. So they're going to be hard charging to finish up the season very on a high note. And they played really well last year, as you know, down the stretch. So they're used to playing well late in the season. So this is going to be a fun race to watch, just as an observer, because that's all I have here. Thanks a lot, Mets. Thanks a lot. Well, let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut too. Thank you, and I'll see you later.